Tonight. Now, Anita has been watching shows where properties sold by tender, and she asks, "Hi Margaret, on a property-related TV show, the house was sold by tender. It appeared that there was only one open day where forms and envelopes were provided to everyone who wanted to make an offer. After the people had all gone, the vendor and agent had a large pile of envelope offers. For them, it was a great success as they achieved a higher price than they were originally looking for. What do you think of selling residential property by tender?" Peter, this sounds like a Dutch auction almost to me, or certainly an auction.
It can be one of two things, a silent auction or a Dutch auction. Let's talk what a Dutch auction is. That's where the agent goes back and forth between the buyers, disclosing one buyer's bid to another and asking the second buyer if they can top it. I don't think that's...
Do they do that in Holland?
I believe they do.
Started in the flower markets in Holland.
Ah, yes, because it did.
I don't believe that that's a fair or a good or equitable way to sell real estate, but certainly tender or silent auction, which it's sounding like this particular sale was a version of, is a good way to go. All I'd say from the vendor's perspective is they should make sure all bids are unconditional. So a buyer can't have the luxury of putting a really strong bid in today, winning the tender, and then waking up in the morning and saying, you know what, I've changed my mind on that. So the forms that you refer to, I should hope from everyone's perspective that they were unconditional contracts, meaning whoever ended up with the property owned the property and it was a cash offer, as would happen at a public auction.
OK, what do you think of the practice, Michael?
Well, I think two things about the question. Firstly, reality shows are not real.
Even though they call them real.
They are so not real. So
I don't know, that one tonight, that marrying one, that's got to be real, surely.
I think they're unreality TV shows. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I think an episode that portrays this could be more about the market that we're in rather than the success of any particular technique. So I don't think too much stock should be placed on that. It's a method that's used from time to time. I don't think it's any better or worse really than a lot of other methods.
I think the weakness in it, Margaret, was the one opening. I wouldn't be recommending anyone sell their property after one opening.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's not real. You know, a reality show will portray that, but that's not the way it's done. And no sensible agent's going to let that happen.
And I think it depends on the market as well. Anita, as this is a national show, I also need to point out to viewers that real estate law is very different in every state. And this certainly wouldn't be allowed in Queensland, I wouldn't imagine, Michael, where, you know, those contracts are very specific about what you can and can't do.
You could do it, but it's going to be still time of the essence.
Some states call for a cooling off period whether you like it or not.
Exactly. So some there are mandatory cooling off periods, so you could be vulnerable during that. WA has an offer and acceptance process, which is very different again. So some states don't lend themselves to this kind of a process, and I assumed automatically that you were even though you hadn't said on your email that you were actually writing from Victoria, because I know that this is a practice that does take place in Victoria, where it's quite common to be able to make an offer and then sign a contract immediately. That is an unconditional contract, without having to sign 66 Ws and documents as you would have to in New South Wales or maybe some other states. But certainly, look, it's something that may work. I think it depends on the market as well. I think in a seller's market, it's a fabulous way to get a good price. I think in a buyer's market, then you're probably setting yourself up to get very low offers, and it could all be a big waste of your time.
You need the right market and the right agent.